Now, this next story comes from Push Square, and this is an interesting one because this is like the world of physical games and digital games merging in a bad way. And they've went on and they've updated us that basically Crimson Desert, the physical copy of the game, so you see you buy this and it gets delivered, or you pick it up on this at the store, or it gets, you know, delivered to you early, which we see happen with some games, and then they kind of break their street date inadvertently. The game won't play without a day one update. So this has caused a lot of debate online, and we've got someone on Twitter has posted. So Videotech UK has posted, Crimson Desert is the first game to lock down early disc copies. More publishers need to do this to prevent leaks, especially Rockstar Games. And then they've said, well done, Crimson Desert. Hopefully this becomes the norm. Now, I don't know who this person is, but I strongly disagree with this. I don't think this is a good thing. Physical games should be all on, in an ideal world, should be fully on disc, completely unlocked for like preservation purposes. And that's the point of physical games. You don't want it to have anything to do with, you know, downloadable content and even like checking in, you know, online. Just none of that. That is what you do not want. Push Square went on to say this is an extremely controversial comment in the face of criticism aimed at game keycards. You know, on the Nintendo Switch, they're basically just plastic cartridges which are download tokens. You put it in and then it downloads the game, which I also think completely sucks. You want it fully on the cartridge. Basically rendering the preservation aspect of retail releases redundant. I get this because people forget, what about when these companies in the future, their servers go down or they take their servers offline, you know, they're onto the PlayStation 7 or 8 by then or whatever it is. The game won't be able to be played or downloaded onto new systems, which just sucks. Like, I've got a whole bunch of PS1 games back there. I've got N64 games. They still work amazing to this day. That's what you want, people. And you might be young and think you don't want it now, but trust me, when you get a lot older, you'll be thinking, I can't wait to show my kid these games that I used to play and stuff like that. And you might not be able to do it. So trust me, just think a little bit bigger about it. But one user went on here to say, peak anti-accessibility, anti-consumer, pro-corpo glazing for precious spoilers that will mean nothing in terms of sales. Yuck. Fake physical releases shouldn't be the norm. Don't encourage this type of anti-consumer behaviour because there's more to games than their launch date. My dude hit the nail on the head there. Spot on. I totally agree with that. And then we've got another response from Does It Play, which is dedicated to the practice of game preservations. Does It Play's pretty good. They often post whether games have the full game on disc and stuff like that, or whether it's like basically a blank disc and you just download the games. They have said mandatory updates / DRM for physical games are supposedly okay to prevent spoilers, some claim. Think about what you're inviting here for a second. Loss of ownership and independence. If UPS delivers Jimmy's copy 2 days before yours, should we lock him up until you have yours? I know, it's kind of wild, this, about like literally all the spoilers and stuff like that. If you're buying like Resident Evil, a big new Resident Evil game, or like Wolverine or GTA 6 when it launches, and you know it's running by that launch time, just stay off the internet for a bit, people. Stay off your gaming website or whatever if you don't want spoilers, or stay off social media. It's always all over Twitter and stuff like that. I recommend you just delete Twitter anyway. It's full of shit. So yeah, I think this is just a bit mad. And I'm kind of surprised that there's anyone that thinks this is a good idea. The article goes on and says, this is a thorny issue because we understand the concerns around spoilers. Capcom recently had to plead with players not to share their experiences with Resident Evil 9 Requiem when physical copies made their way out into the wild a week before release. Right, so that happened, right? Did that impact Resident Evil Requiem sales? No, it's been massive. It's been a huge success. If the game's good, it ain't going to make a difference. To me, developers, you know, that would be a worry if, you know, maybe if their game actually sucks and they're like, oh, I don't want people knowing about this, you know, before they get their hands on it. It will make a difference. But mandatory downloads aren't the solution, in our opinion. That just diminishes the very real appeal of physical releases, so we can understand the pushback against the original post. Perhaps the solution here is to delay physical releases, wait until most bugs have been solved, and then print the most up-to-date version on disc. Players may be forced to wait or double dip, but it would prevent the spoiler issue and would ensure the best possible build of the game included on the actual disc. Right, I don't agree with that either. How about the developers just actually finish the game, make the game, stop relying on day one updates, day one patches, actually like scope their project effectively, work and deliver on the requirements. Don't be so ambitious that the thing, is just a broken mess when they launch it. Think about all these games we have. I know it's like, oh, back in my day, and its games are much smaller and they're way more complicated now and everything. I get that. But there's a huge element of project management here. How come some developers can launch games which are just amazing and are really well polished for day one? Others can't. Like, delay the release of the game. Just delay the release of the game. That's it. Simple, But I know there's then business impacts of that because, oh no, they need to pay more people more money and they're not getting more money in because the game hasn't released. It's like, no, they should not release a game digitally. This idea of release a game digitally first and then release the physical one a couple of weeks or months later once all the bugs are fixed, that's just going to drive more people to digital adoption and eliminate physical adoption even more. How about you just release a fully finished product on the disc? End of. What do you think about this? This is an interesting topic, and with Crimson Desert being a pretty big game which is launching soon, it's going to be interesting to see how this goes down and how this impacts things.